Shocking truth revealed. The shy maid's incredible plea transforms a mafia boss's fate forever. Mia's heart raced as she pressed the vacuum against the marble floors of the Romano mansion. The opulence surrounding her felt like a cruel joke, a sparkling veil over the dark underbelly of the community. She barely registered the laughter and clinking glasses of the guests beyond the grand library doors. Each sweep of the floor was weighted with 100 unspoken fears, the future she envisioned for her younger brother, Lucas, slipping further away with each passing day. They had lost their parents in a tragic accident, and it was Mia's relentless labor that kept hope alive. As she carefully rearranged the neatly stacked linens, her mind wandered to the expensive textbooks and college brochures she had stashed away. Lucas had dreams far bigger than theirs had ever been, but at what cost? Standing amidst the lavish decor, a stranger in a costume of servitude, Mia felt the crushing divide close around her, tightening with every polished surface she touched. The oppressive silence shattered when she heard Vince Romano's voice, deep, powerful, an undercurrent of menace woven through. Curious yet terrified, she sidled closer to the library door, her breath hitching in her throat. "Tonight's shipment? Everything's in place?" Vince's tone brooked no argument. She strained to hear every word, the panic curling in her gut. What shipment? It couldn't be. The gnawing horror lurking just beneath the surface surged. Vince, the mafia boss with icy control over the neighborhood, was preparing for something illegal, threatening not just Lucas's future, but the fragile safety of everyone she adored. The thought twisted in her stomach, igniting the fearful urge to flee. But fleeing meant abandoning Lucas's dreams, her only reason for enduring this life. Just as Mia's resolve began to falter, her phone buzzed. The screen lit up with a message that shattered whatever calm she had grasped. Lucas had been caught up in a gang shootout. Desperation coursed through her veins, a rush of anguish overpowering her from within. If anything happened to him, she couldn't bear it. That night, every intention to avoid Vince evaporated into sheer instinct. She found herself standing outside his shadowy office, heat rising to her cheeks as uncertainty gnawed at her core. This was the confrontation she never envisioned. As she stepped into the dim room, words faltered on her tongue. How could she make him listen? "Vince," her voice trembled, vulnerability forcing its way out. "I came from nothing, and now I'm scared for Lucas. He lives a good life. He deserves more." With every word, Mia revealed layers of her history, dreams that echoed with loss and love. Rousing emotions within her adversary felt both like a glimmer of hope and a reckless gamble. Would he shatter her aspirations further, or was there something buried beneath his ruthless exterior? Before she could overthink it, panic turned her voice sharp. "You have to see how your choices affect real people. My brother. He didn't choose this." Mia's breath hitched as she finished her plea. For a moment, Vince's hardened face betrayed a flicker of something unnameable, a crack where humanity resided. Yet, the darkness that shadowed him loomed larger. Would he extend his power to protect her brother, or drag them both deeper into his world of cruelty? Just as the weight of uncertainty settled around them both, the distant wail of sirens sliced through the stillness, an echo of impending chaos. Mia stepped back, her heart racing, realizing that she had shifted the game, but the outcome remained uncertain. The silence hovered between them, thick and suffocating, her destiny hanging on the edge as she walked away, both hopeful and terrified. Mia awoke the next morning to the sound of her phone buzzing incessantly on the bedside table. The frantic vibrations echoed in her mind, amplifying the anxiety that had settled in her chest like a dense fog. She reached for it, trembling, as she unlocked the screen and saw Lucas's name glaring back at her. The sheer weight of their situation pressed heavily upon her. The sun's muted rays filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow on her modest room, but Mia felt a chill ripple down her spine. With her heart pounding in her ears, she quickly returned the call. Each ring felt like a countdown to the rent due on hope, an unbearable reminder of their precarious reality. "Lucas, are you okay?" Her voice wavered with worry. "I'm fine, Mia. I got lucky," he replied, his tone too casual to mask the tension lingering beneath. "I just wanted to tell you I'm staying at Marcus's for a while. It's not safe at home." The air pooled in Mia's lungs, suffocating her with overwhelming relief and a sense of dread. "But what about school? We can't let them drag you into this." Every breath felt like a step deeper into a murky abyss. "Mia, it's not about that anymore. You don't understand. I need to earn respect. You would too if you knew," he trailed off, emotions spilling over with frustration. Mia gripped the phone, wrestling with the enormity of her brother's choices. This wasn't the future she had envisioned for him, but she knew she couldn't impose her dreams on him. As an uneasy silence fell, determination sparked within her. Somewhere deep down, she realized that protecting Lucas would require more than just tears and fear. It would require strength and strategy. Taking a steadying breath, Mia resolved to move beyond her role as a maid in the Romano mansion. She needed to be an advocate for Lucas, and perhaps a necessary ally for Vince as well. She recalled the flicker of humanity she had glimpsed in him. Perhaps she could tap into that again, find a way to wield her newfound influence. Her day unfolded like a murky, dark cloud, but her focus intensified as she forced herself to recognize the toll the Mafia's presence exacted on her. Concentrated on her tasks, each one a reminder of her purpose. Every window scrubbed, every floor swept, began to transform from an act of menial labor into a vehicle for strategy. When she found herself in the grand kitchen, preparing snacks for the afternoon meeting of Vince's associates, anxiety pulsed beneath her skin. She craved clarity, a plan to navigate this treacherous terrain. The chaos swirling in her mind began to focus on a singular goal: to confront Vince once more, to summon the fortitude to maneuver this dance of power, aiming for Lucas's safety. Later that night, as she tucked away a batch of freshly baked pastries, she felt a rush of adrenaline. The atmosphere was charged, a mixture of potent expectation and raw fear as the guests filed into the grand hallway for a meeting. Mia adjusted her apron, the fabric now tinged with the resolve that had formed into an unshakable will. She approached the library's entrance, every step echoing in her ears like a silent drum roll. This time wouldn't be the same. She would no longer back down or shake when confronted with Vince's presence. She needed to assert herself, not just as a maid, but as a protector. As the door creaked open, the scent of cigar smoke and aged whiskey washed over her, and the clamor of male voices filled the space. Mia stepped inside, heart racing with purpose, her mind swirling with the possibilities of this confrontation. The moment felt monumental, shifting the very essence of who she was, the shy maid ready to become something more. "Vince," she started, her voice steadier than she felt, "I need to talk to you about Lucas." Just as the weight of her words hung in the air, a sudden crash reverberated outside, striking fear through the assembly. Mia's breath hitched. Whatever happened next might change everything. The crash outside sent a shudder of panic coursing through Mia. For a fleeting moment, she was frozen, questioning whether this was the culmination of her actions or merely another twist in a dangerous game. The men in the room turned as one, faces hardened and tense, eyes darting to the door where the chaos had erupted. Mia's heart threatened to leap from her chest, but beneath the surface, something more potent than fear began to unfurl within her. She focused inward, reabsorbing the fragmented currents of resolve she had embraced hours earlier. This wasn't just a confrontation, it was an opportunity, one that could redefine her very essence. The stakes were higher than they had ever been, aching to propel her into the uncharted territory of power dynamics and self-assertion. "Vince," Mia repeated, her voice less a plea now and more an iron note of determination, "I need you to listen. Lucas is caught in something he can't escape. You have to understand, he needs protection." The words spilled forth, raw and electric, igniting the air around them. Vince's gaze, sharp and calculating, fixed on her. The intense curiosity flickered in his eyes. "And what makes you think I care about some kid lost in the shadows?" His voice was gruff, yet there lingered an almost imperceptible softness, as if her fearless proclamation piqued an intriguing curiosity within him. Mia swallowed hard, resisting the urge to shrink back under his scrutinizing stare. "Because I know him, Vince. I know he's not just a pawn in this game. He's my brother. And if you want to lay claim to this world, you need to start thinking bigger than petty battles and loyalty. Protecting him could mean loyalty from me to you." The room crackled with energy as the tension thickened. The other men shifted, uncertain and intrigued, aware they were witnessing a negotiation unfold that was unlike anything they'd seen before. Mia's heart raced, but framed by the ferocity of her own emotions, she was beginning to grasp the power of her voice. "For a maid, you sure are ambitious," Vince quipped, the hint of a sardonic smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "What do you really know about this life?" She took a strategizing breath, moments of self-doubt briefly flickering. But as the images of Lucas flashed in her mind, the vulnerable boy she cherished, the future slipping away, her resolve hardened. "I know that no one wins if we keep playing these games. You have the chance to start a change. If you choose to shield him, you won't just gain a loyalty, you might forge a bond that could redefine your operations." The words emerged sharper, infused with authenticity that ignited her internal conviction. She began to understand her own capacity for persuasion, not just as a tool, but as a force capable of reshaping alliances. Vince's demeanor shifted slightly, the sharp edges of his expression softening with curiosity. "And what's in it for you?" "It's not about me." The sentiment burned within her, but she was ready to wear her vulnerability like armor. "It's about knowing I did everything I could to protect the one person who matters most. If you're going to step up in this war, you need to see beyond your empire. You need allies." A tense silence enveloped the room. The men exchanged glances, some appearing skeptical, others intrigued. They were restless wolves sensing a shift in the pack's hierarchy. Mia could feel their hesitation, the shaky ground beneath their feet, and it filled her with adrenaline. Before she could dwell on her mounting anxiety, another crash shattered the moment, closer this time, a violent confrontation erupting beyond the library doors, chaos spilling into her plans. The feral intensity of what awaited out there echoed her internal strife. "See what you've unleashed," Vince said quietly, and Mia sensed there was no longer just hostility, but an understanding. In that moment, a revelation illuminated her intentions. This was more than just a negotiation. It was the birth of an alliance fraught with risk and possibility. But as the pandemonium surged closer, she was acutely aware that every moment held the potential to betray or transform. Could she safeguard Lucas and disrupt their world simultaneously? The answer fled her consciousness as she prepared for the ramifications of her boldness, knowing the tide was turning, but her role was yet to be decided. What lay ahead in the fray beyond the door could either seal her fate or unveil a deeper power within. A confrontation not just for Lucas, but an unrelenting fight for her own future. Would she emerge as a protector or be consumed in the fire of ambition? Mia stood at the precipice of chaos, her heart racing with the awareness that her words had shifted the narrative in the room. The distant echoes of violence grew closer, reminding her that she was facing more than just powerful men. She was confronting the weight of her own identity and aspirations in a world designed to crush the vulnerable. As the tension tightened like a noose around her thoughts, Mia sensed a fork in her journey. She had always considered herself a mere observer, a maid carrying out her duties, unseen and unheard. But now she wielded a voice that could command attention, a voice that could resonate with the ambitions swirling in Vince's eyes. What she realized, standing there amid the chaos, was that she had the potential to be a force for change. "Look, Vince," she pressed, her voice steadying despite the tumult outside. "You think I want to get involved in this?" She gestured around them. "This world? But I have to, for my brother. There's power in making difficult choices, choices that define us. You must know that." Vince regarded her with a newfound intensity. She could feel the shifting energies in the room, the gruff men beginning to respect her audacity, even feeling challenged by her perspective. Deep down, Mia knew she had to manage this moment carefully. The stakes were astronomical, both for her and Lucas. The weight of her pleas was more than personal. It hinged on real lives, futures hanging in the balance, including hers. "What you require will demand commitment," Vince finally said, his tone still skeptical but laced with intrigue. "Are you prepared to venture into this abyss?" The question had an immediate, jarring effect on Mia. She considered it carefully, allowing the weight of his words to sink in. The abyss loomed larger, darker, yet it was undeniably inviting, each shadow a potential ally. This was no longer just about Lucas. It was a quest for agency and power in a formidable landscape. "I have no desire to play the power game," Mia replied, with conviction hardening around her. "But if it means creating a safe passage for Lucas and those who deserve better, then I am prepared to step into the darkness." As she spoke, a rush of clarity surged through her. She was not just speaking for herself anymore, but for everyone who felt powerless. This was her moment, her choice to break the cycle she had lived with for so long. The air thickened. The crash of glass punctuated her revelation, snapping her focus. Vince's visage reflected the ambiguity of his thoughts, somewhere between calculating and appreciative. For the first time, those stormy eyes regarded her as an equal rather than a mere servant. The realization ignited something primal within her, a warrior spirit awakened by necessity. How far could she go? What alliances could she forge? What enemies could she defy? Those questions burned anew as the violence outside escalated to an unmistakable crescendo. Then, as if on cue, the door swung open, a flurry of chaos bursting into the room. A figure stumbled in, bloodied and wild-eyed, collapsing to the ground. "Lucas!" she screamed, the protective surge within amplifying a torrent of emotions. In that instant, the reality of the threat in their world became overwhelmingly clear. No longer was she merely advocating for him, she was thrusting herself into an unforgiving vortex of peril. Could she maintain her unyielding resolve while confronting the imminent danger that had come crashing into her life? The stakes had escalated. Her mission was not only to safeguard her brother, but to guide herself through the undefined labyrinth that the unfolding conflict lay before her. With her brother's name echoing in her mind, Mia realized this confrontation could either empower her or obliterate everything she fought for. As she knelt beside Lucas, the chaotic maelstrom of uncertainty surged, pulling her deeper into a world she had unwittingly begun to navigate. What was the cost of her daring declaration? The question lingered ominously as Mia braced for impact, not just from her enemies, but from the consequences of her rapidly unfolding choices. Mia knelt beside Lucas, her heart pounding with a mix of dread and determination as she assessed his injuries. The sight of him, ragged and vulnerable, ignited a fierce protectiveness she had never fully acknowledged within herself. Whatever precarious balance of power had shifted in that room with Vince was now overwhelmed by the primal need to keep her brother alive. "Lucas, can you hear me?" she whispered, brushing her fingers against his bloodied arm. She needed him to respond. She needed to know he was still here, still fighting. His eyelids fluttered open, revealing a mix of pain and confusion. "Mia? What happened?" Even disoriented, there was a flicker of his usual spirit, a glimmer of the brother she'd fight for until her last breath. Fear clawed at her as she forced herself to focus. "We need to get you out of here," she said, scanning the room for help. Vince's men loomed around, their expressions a mix of concern and caution. She has a point, Vince said, breaking the tension as he stepped forward, redirecting attention. We don't have time to waste. His voice, once exuding dictatorship, now held a thread of urgency that stirred something within Mia. There was potential here, a decision that could fuel her burgeoning resolve. Why help us? She challenged. You're a part of this chaos. How do I know this isn't a trap? Because, Vince said slowly, as if weighing each word, I need allies, real allies. I've seen enough bloodshed today to last a lifetime. His eyes locked onto Mia's with an intensity that sent ripples of something unidentifiable through her. I've watched you speak. You have conviction. In this world, that's a rare quality. Mia swallowed hard, torn between mistrust and the undeniable power of his words. The notion of entering into a bond with him felt twisted, yet she was acutely aware of this pivotal moment. With Lucas at her side, she had to foreground her desires. Their survival hinged on the decisions made now. How do I know you're not lying? She pressed, her instincts urging her to keep digging for clarity. Because whatever games I've played, I want to do a real service for once. I'm tired of keeping score. Vince's demeanor softened under the weight of vulnerability, the ruthless facade cracking just a bit. Mia's heart raced with a mix of dread and anticipation. If Vince was sincere, every choice they made from this moment forward needed to embody the new landscape she sought to create, one driven by truth, not manipulation. All right, she said, steeling herself. Let's move quickly. I'll trust you, for now. The words tasted of resolve, a pact forged in desperation and fierce purpose. As they lifted Lucas, Mia felt the unique blend of fear and empowerment coalesce within her. She was no longer merely a bystander in someone else's drama. She was actively rewriting a narrative, propelling herself into a battle for her brother's life and her own burgeoning sense of self. They stumbled out into the night, the pandemonium that followed cascading around them, each step echoing the weight of choices being made. Lucas's breathing was shallow but steady within her grasp, and each thud of their hurried footsteps reminded her of the stakes she was keenly aware of. Mia's mind raced as they weaved through allies and adversaries alike, her thoughts oscillating from survival to strategy, the next steps to consider beyond the immediate. In this moment, she understood. Survival was not patched together merely from physical strength, but from the intricate alliance of her own cunning, bravery, and the ability to forge bonds, even with the most conflicted characters. Yet, lurking in the back of her mind was a nagging thought. This cooperation with Vince could unravel as swiftly as it had begun. What cracks lay beneath his facade? How much darkness would she need to confront to carve out the future she envisioned? As they reached the alley's end, a sense of urgency crackled around them, the whirlpool of chaos beckoning once more. Would they emerge from this fight intact, or were they walking into a deeper abyss than Mia could anticipate? With every heartbeat, adrenaline surged, questioning whether the fragile alliances formed tonight would truly lead to liberation or despair. The moment was rife with potential, a quiet before the inevitable storm. What awaited them just beyond the darkness? Mia propelled herself forward, any lingering doubts about Vince's intentions vying for space with an urgent need for clarity. Each hurried stride deepened her understanding that she was no longer the passive character in this narrative. She was at the helm, navigating the twists of fate not just for Lucas, but for herself. Where are we headed? Lucas's voice broke through the chaos, fragile yet anchored by his unwavering courage. She glanced down at him, his face pale but eyes alert, hungry for answers amidst uncertainty. A safe place, she replied, hoping to reassure him. But would any place be safe now? She felt the weight of responsibility settle around her shoulders like an anchor. Vince led the way, his movement fluid, focused, drawing on unspoken instincts that Mia was only beginning to grasp. There was strength in him, a command, yet his recent vulnerability flickered in her mind, making her hyper-aware of the complex layers beneath his hard exterior. Suddenly, a shout shattered the air, a piercing reminder of the chaos they were entangled in. They turned a corner where the unkempt alley opened up to a dimly lit street lined with sleeping shops, the quiet deceptively serene. "Stay close," Vince instructed, sliding into a protective stance as he surveyed their surroundings. Mia nodded, chest tightening, the urgency of her brother's situation causing her to prioritize their flight over the murky alliance she had just forged. This path they were on was paved with unease, and yet she needed to commit. As they moved, a palpable tension threaded through their trio, interwoven with Mia's fear and resolve, the protection of Lucas, and the calculated strength of Vince. But more than that, it stirred something deep within her. The urgency of their escape began to morph into the awakening of a potentially formidable ally, sharpening her instincts for what was to come. "Where do we go after this?" she found herself asking, despite her hesitation. "We find a secure location. One of my people will help," Vince replied, glancing back at Mia, his face a complex mixture of determination and concern. "We'll need to regroup, figure this out together." The word "together" resonated, ricocheting off her apprehension. She didn't quite trust him, yet in that moment, she was aware of the rich potential, a sense of shared survival. Maybe this was the turning point she needed, an opportunity to reshape her role, not just as sister, but as a powerful entity in this unfolding drama. As they crossed the street, a figure emerged from the shadows, their presence alarming yet necessary. Mia squinted into the dim light and struggled to process the looming silhouette that appeared both familiar and foreign. "Sean," Vince said, relief washing over his features. "Get them to safety." Mia's pulse quickened at the name. Sean had once been a friend, a fleeting moment in a past life before affiliations and choices had wrought chaos. Despite uncertainty, the flicker of solace coursed through her. Perhaps this was the unforeseen partnership she needed, the bridge to navigate through unfamiliar waters. "Is he with you?" She shot a glance at Vince, rays of skepticism piercing the surface of her determination. "More like a liability, but for now he's our best option," Vince replied, a hint of weariness in his voice. As they closed the distance, Sean's sharp gaze scanned the scene, his focus settling on Mia with a blend of recognition and uncertainty. The layers of their shared history rippled within her. What choices had he made that led them back to this moment? "Let's move," Sean urged, sweeping them onward. But Mia hesitated, rooted momentarily in the conflict between past and present, conflicted deep within. She understood the stakes. They were climbing higher, spinning higher to a confrontation she wasn't prepared for. A confrontation not solely with the external threats, but one with herself. In trusting others, would she unearth a strength that had lain dormant, or would it lead her down a path she couldn't navigate? Time proved relentless, unraveling underfoot as they pushed forward into the night. Would they gain what they sought? Or would the culmination of Ty's struggle under the weight of choices already made? Mia felt the tremor of destiny beckon, waiting for her to lay claim to her path. There was a decision looming ahead, one that didn't just affect her survival, but dared to unveil the woman she was becoming. She lingered on the edge of that decision, soul ablaze as shadows danced over the unfamiliar terrain. Something was awakening within her, a nascent force that whispered of power, courage, and the raw potential to confront the inner demons wrestling for supremacy. The question spiraled in her mind: who would she become when the dust settled? But as they turned towards a darkened alley, she couldn't shake the feeling that not all partnerships were designed to bring salvation. What danger awaited? And would the trust she was beginning to forge serve her, or lead her deeper into the corruption she sought to escape? Mia followed closely behind Vince and Sean, each step weighed with unresolved tensions. Shadows enveloped them as they moved deeper into the alley, the flickering neon lights at the street's end growing dimmer. Mia's thoughts raced, a tapestry of past grievances interwoven with looming safety. She had to stay focused. The clock was ticking, and every second surged with the potential for chaos. "How'd you even find me?" Sean's voice broke through the silence, directed at Vince but meant for Mia's ears. "I have my ways." Vince's tone held a confidence that prickled Mia's skin, yet there was a sincerity buried beneath his bravado. A quick glance at Sean revealed a tight-lipped expression, one that suggested he wasn't keen on digging into the past right now. Silently, she marveled at the vibrant memories of their friendship, a life before affiliations turned them into strangers. But there was no time for nostalgia. "Look, we need to be quick," Sean interjected, strategically assessing their surroundings. "They'll be looking for us. We can't take chances." Mia felt her heart pound as she calculated their next move. This moment highlighted an unspoken truth. She needed to prepare for a reality built on collaboration, no matter how uneasy it felt. Would she lean into it or hold back, harboring fears that would stifle her potential? Instinctively, she moved closer to Lucas, reminded of why she was undertaking this perilous journey. He looked up at her, and her resolve solidified. The trio wound their way through the narrow alleyways, with Vince and Sean leading the charge. Each turn revealed fragments of a city she once knew, yet now felt like a blurred landscape of risks and hidden dangers. Fear threatened to fill the space around her, but Mia resisted. She focused on the power she felt pooling in her core, the latent spirit rising to the surface, determined not to be a pawn in someone else's game any longer. "What happens if we don't find that safe house?" she posed, challenging the narrative she had unwittingly stepped into. Her voice was calm, but it masked the turmoil brewing beneath. Vince met her gaze, holding it steady. "We have to trust our instincts, Mia. If we get separated—" His voice trailed off, and she saw the raw reality reflected in his eyes, the weight of responsibility mirrored in her own. "Then I need to learn to trust," she whispered, half to herself, but both men heard. They rounded the corner, and suddenly a sense of urgency swept through the alley, a predatory odor mixed with dread. Mia's body tensed. It was an instinct honed by survival. She could sense the tension in the air as shadows elongated and took form. "Stay low," Sean warned, crouching instinctively. Mia followed suit. They huddled together in the alley, and her heart raced as they pressed against the cool brick wall. The voices of potential threats echoed, growing louder with each passing moment. "Who are they?" Lucas's tremor echoed in the silence that enveloped them. "Mafia. We'll figure it out," Mia whispered, surprised at her own calmness despite the rising storm of fear. Her words were less about reassurance and more a proclamation of purpose. She was no longer a victim waiting to be saved. They watched as figures darted past, their silhouettes outlining a world she had only begun to tread. Something within her stirred, a primal need to assert herself, to step forward instead of hiding. "What if we confront them?" she suggested, the words tasting both foreign and exhilarating. Vince turned sharply, his eyes wide. "No, your safety is paramount. We need a plan." "No," Mia countered, surprising even herself with the solidity in her tone. "If we let them get ahead, we'll never have a chance." This was her pivotal moment, willingness to take risks, instilling fearlessness in others. Her sense of agency collided with the raw chaos that surrounded them, breathing life into a newfound strength. "I don't know if you're right," Sean said quietly, yet admiration flickered across his face. "But I'm with you." "This is not just about survival," Mia continued, her heart hammering with daring courage. "We're here for something bigger, aren't we? For Lucas, for ourselves." Vince seemed to wrestle with her words, the weight of their implications settling in. As they held their breath in the dark, poised on the verge of action, Mia felt the powerful resonance of her conviction. She was not merely echoing back their panic. She was crafting her fate, rewriting her place in this treacherous game. Would she summon the courage to cross that threshold into the unknown, or would hesitation fracture her resolve, allowing fear to reclaim its hold? They spotted flickers of movement ahead, and the tightening of muscles around them served as a reminder there was no turning back now. The time for confrontation had arrived. Mia inhaled deeply, her resolve crystallizing. It was time to find out who she would become in the face of this unfolding storm. Would she rise to meet it or fade away into the shadows? The tense silence of the alley became a prelude to destiny rearranging itself before her very eyes. With the shadows closing in, Mia's mind raced with possibilities. Each potential decision flickered like the dying neon lights that surrounded them, drawing her in with both trepidation and undeniable excitement. The looming thread of confrontation pulsated in her chest, an electric reminder that courage was a choice. Vince and Sean shifted in front of her, their bodies tense with anticipation. Mia pressed her back against the cold brick wall, attempting to ground herself. "We have to go now," she whispered, sensing that the momentum was pivoting around her. "What's our plan?" Sean questioned, breathing in shallow bursts, his gaze darting toward the murmurs of danger that echoed just beyond the alleyway. Mia inhaled deeply, collecting the fragments of her thoughts. "We create a diversion, something that will draw them away from us while we make a break for it." The words spilled out before she could second-guess herself. The mere act of voicing them solidified her resolve. "Divert their attention?" Vince echoed, a hint of skepticism dancing across his features. Mia's mind raced through potential ideas, adrenaline sharpening her focus. "We make noise. We use anything we can find here, bottles, trash, whatever, that can create a distraction." As uncertainty flitted across Sean's face, Mia felt a wellspring of confidence rise within her. Taking risks now felt like an act of reclaiming. She had learned to suppress her assertiveness for too long, hiding behind roles that never honored her true instincts. Now, standing on the precipice of uncertainty, she felt the vibrant essence of who she was beginning to unfurl. Vince nodded, albeit cautiously. "All right, but we move quickly. We only get one chance at this." With urgency, Mia scanned the alley around them. Her eyes landed on a broken glass bottle half buried amidst a pile of refuse. "I'll take that," she said, reaching for it, the shards reflecting fragments of her potential. They positioned themselves strategically, each member of the trio contributing to the tension that hung heavy in the air. Anxiety tinged the edges of Mia's determination as she signaled to Sean and Vince. She felt raw, exposed. Yet she wasn't entirely alone. Lucas watched her with wide, trusting eyes. "Just like we rehearsed," Vince whispered, his voice steady. With the bottle clasped tightly in her hand, Mia took a breath, centering herself in the moment. "On 3, she instructed. 1, 2... The count felt like an eternity between the beats of her heart, the alley transforming from a past haunt into her proving ground. 3. Mia hurled the bottle down the alleyway, the glass shattering against the pavement. The sound reverberated off the walls like a thunderclap, a sharp distraction that pierced through the night. Instantly, heads turned, shadows shifted. "Go!" Vince shouted, and with a surge of courage they dashed toward the opening, each heartbeat fueled by the wild pulse of adrenaline. Mia was at the forefront. The thrill of executing a plan ignited her resolve. Behind her, she could hear the scuffle of footsteps, the startled shouts muffled by the chaos she had instigated. This panic was not hers. It was the kind of energy that screamed empowerment, allowing her to reclaim agency in her narrative. But as they burst into the main street, a horrifying realization dawned upon her. They weren't safe yet, far from it. Ahead loomed a figure she recognized. It was Notorious, a man she had only heard whispered about in fear-ridden streets, a Mafia enforcer whose gaze seemed to pierce through the night. The adrenaline of the moment was swiftly exchanged for icy dread as he smirked at the arrival of the trio. How Mia wished she could backtrack and reconsider every impulsive decision she had just made. What would she do now? Would she stand her ground or flee, risking everything she had just gained? Confrontation loomed larger than life. This was no longer a simple escape. It was a reckoning. As the man took a step forward, a familiar face hidden among the crowd caught her attention. and Mia felt the world shift beneath her as everything she had fought for hung perilously in balance. Would this be the moment that defined her, or the one that broke her? The crossroads loomed dangerously ahead, shaping the path of her fate. The clang of the bottle echoing in her ears seemed to drown out everything else. But in that moment, Mia's focus sharpened with precision. The enforcer's presence was like a lead weight pulling her down, threatening to anchor her in fear. The world around her blurred. Cars honked, people laughed obliviously. But to Mia, time stretched into a slow motion where every thought felt monumental. The enforcer's eyes ignited with menace, his demeanor suggesting he held the keys to their survival. Or destruction. How had it come to this? Just moments ago, she had reignited a flicker of courage in an alleyway, only to find herself staring into the storm of danger. Now, with the thrill of taking action fading, uncertainty clawed at her psyche. With Sean and Vince instinctively shrinking back, Mia felt an odd mix of terror and defiance wash over her. She was rapidly transitioning from mere participant to leader. This was precisely the sort of confrontation she had worked tirelessly to sidestep. Did she truly want to retreat? No. A rising conviction anchored her feet to the pavement. Mia, what do we do? Sean's voice trembled, a reminder that the stakes had just escalated dramatically. Before she could articulate much of a plan, an inner voice, stronger than usual, compelled her to confront the truth hidden just beneath the layers of fear. As her gaze flitted between the enforcer and the now familiar face in the crowd, clarity emerged. This wasn't merely a moment of terror, it was her opportunity to redefine her path. She had spent far too long constricted by the chains of expectation. Now she had to seize this fleeting moment. A decision set heavy in her gut, awakening aspects of herself she had neglected. Mia started, trembling slightly, but the tremor quickly transformed into strength. We're not here to hide. I won't let him intimidate us. The determination in her voice galvanized Vince and Sean, pushing them to adopt a more assertive stance. The enforcer took a bold step closer, his smirk widening into an unsettling grin, a predator delighting in the moment. Mia's heart raced, but she held her ground. "You won't take us down with fear," she challenged, a revelation coursing through her, a self-confidence she had never dared to summon before. As if igniting a hidden fire within her, the familiar face, Bennett, the childhood friend whose betrayal had shaped so many of Mia's fears, stepped forward from the crowd. The motion was jarring, reminiscent of the past that now seemed inevitable. "Mia, wait!" he yelled, panic lacing his tone. The enforcer, clearly amused by the unfolding drama, turned his attention to Bennett. "You know this girl?" His voice dripped with malice, portraying the power dynamics at play, the threat growing monstrous. "Yeah, I do," Bennett said, his eyes darting nervously between the enforcer and Mia. "Let's just talk this out. There's no need for—" "Talk?" Mia interjected, rejecting the cautionary tone. "That's exactly what got me trapped in this network of fear and silence." She pivoted, scanning the street filled with unaware civilians, oblivious to the crucial standoff. This was more than an escape. It was a chance for her to reclaim every shackle imposed on her, and, most importantly, herself. The enforcer narrowed his eyes, his confidence wavering slightly. "What makes you think you can talk your way out?" But Mia realized something profound just then. This man was not indomitable. He was just a piece of the system that had held her hostage for too long. "Because I refuse to be a pawn in your games anymore." The shock value intertwined with the pulse of her heart. The depth of her voice caught the attention of bystanders, their gazes shifting towards the confrontation. In that moment, her innate leadership surfaced, drawing from the struggles she had faced alone. The enforcer hesitated, glancing at Bennett, a tiny crack in his facade of control. Mia felt a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. There, standing at the intersection of fate, she clung to the realization that her voice, her actions, could alter everything. As adrenaline coursed through her veins, she prepared to firmly confront her past, her fears, and the enforcer blocking her path. The stakes were high. Caught between the past and the future, she understood that every revelation had collided with this precise moment. The revelations were raw, explosive, and she could no longer withdraw. The enforcer smirked again, though doubt flickered across his brow. "You think you can intimidate me?" Mia took a deep breath, inhaling the electricity bubbling in her chest, ready for the impulses to coalesce into something transformative. The fight for agency was at its apex, her chance to transform everything she once feared. In the charged atmosphere, an unexpected twist loomed, and as she prepared to unveil her truth, the enforcer took a step forward, revealing a shocking secret that could change their lives forever. What was hidden beneath layers of deception would push her resolve to its limits. Would Mia finally embrace her power, or would she be crushed by the weight of the truth she was about to unearth? The enforcer's eyes shimmered with a wicked glint, his confidence inflated by the threat he duelingly embodied. Yet, as Mia adjusted her stance and met his gaze, an unexpected layer of calm unfurled within her. She was not that naive girl anymore, shackled by fear. She had come too far. The conflict was no longer just against this menacing figure, but an assertion of her newfound will, unraveled from the confines of her past. With each racing heartbeat, she could feel the metamorphosis taking place. "I'm not afraid of you," she declared, her voice echoing in the electrified stillness, vibrating with strength and candor. "This is my life. You can no longer define me." The enforcer hesitated, surprise flickering across his cold expression. For years, Mia had allowed herself to recoil in the shadows, uncertain of her worth and abilities. But standing here, at this moment of recognition, every ounce of her growth coalesced into resolve. She was not merely existing to survive, she was ready to conquer. "Those sentiments are cute, sweetheart," he replied flippantly, "but life isn't a romantic fairy tale. You still think you can challenge me?" His words dripped with condescension, yet Mia caught the tremor lurking beneath his bravado. Bennett stepped forward, his voice firm yet imploring. "You don't understand, Mia. You don't want to go down this path. It's not safe. Let's find another way." But Mia shook her head, emboldened by the intensity of the moment. "No, Bennett. I've always let others decide my fate, submitting to the notions of safety and fear. But now, I'll carve out my own destiny." The words felt like an incantation, a declaration manifesting a brave spirit that had long lain dormant within her. "What's your plan?" Vince interjected, moving closer as the tension escalated. The fact that he was still at her side, despite hanging precariously between shifting alliances, stoked the fire burning inside her. "What's your plan?" Vince interjected, moving closer as the tension escalated. The fact that he was still at her side, despite hanging precariously between shifting alliances, stoked the fire burning inside her. "It starts with exposing the truth," Mia replied confidently, fixing her gaze on the enforcer. "You believe power lies in intimidation, but the real strength is in resilience and choices." She could feel the weight of her assertions shift the energy in the air. They were fed up with fear. They wanted to own their narratives instead. The enforcer's smirk faltered for a fraction of a second, revealing an opening she couldn't let slip away. "You're just a scared little girl playing dress-up in an adult's world," he mocked. "But at least I'm no longer hiding behind masks," she retorted, her voice unwavering. In that single moment, what had once felt like despair transformed into purpose. Banding together with Vince and the remnants of her past, she wasn't just fighting for Lucas's safety. This was her battle, a transformative moment where everything could change. With a determined nod, Mia locked eyes with Bennett and Sean. "Together, we can expose the corruption that holds us all hostage. It begins right here and now. We're done allowing fear to dictate our choices." The enforcer narrowed his eyes, simmering with anger as he calculated the implications of her proclamation. Do you think they'll stand by you when the going gets tough? You're just a pawn in a much bigger game. Then let's change the rules, Mia challenged, emboldened by her newfound strength. If we expose you, we empower ourselves. Loyalty is given to those who earn respect, not cruelty. Bennett shifted nervously, glancing between the enforcer and Mia. You don't want to do this, Mia. This path leads to nowhere good. No, it leads to liberation. Her determination rang true, igniting the air around them. A pulse of courage emanated from her very core, rippling through her allies. The enforcer fumed, caught between expanding chaos and his agility in the underworld. You're signing your death warrant. His voice dripped with animosity. Yet Mia detected an undercurrent of uncertainty lingering beneath his bravado. Right then, a siren wailed in the distance, a clarion call that seemed to play at the space between their words, rapidly converging toward a climax. As law enforcement honed in on their street, Vince stepped fluidly ahead, a protective bulwark. "They're here," he shouted, urgency infusing his tone, while the enforcer, flanked by uncertainty and aggression, readied himself for a showdown. "I won't let you trap me in this cycle of oppression any longer." Mia's heart raced alongside the sirens, and she sensed that in this jolting moment, she had the power to distort the narrative they were all trapped in. "Look around you," she proclaimed boldly, directing attention to the bystanders. "This doesn't have to end in violence. It's time to stand up for what's right. We're the ones who shape our future." People started to take notice, the hum of disbelief blending progressively into murmurs of agreement. Her message reached ears tuned to the fear, finally resonating with those around them. Instead of only feeling dread, the crowd began to respond, emboldened by her defiance. The enforcer mistook that rising hope for disobedience, his demeanor shifting dangerously. "You want to rally these people? You'll regret it." Yet, just as he prepared to strike, Mia bolstered her confidence. Enough! The moment hung, someone finally saying what needed to be said. Coinciding with the crescendo of the sirens, things erupted into chaos. More and more people stepped towards the scene, emboldened not only by Mia's rallying cry, but by the insatiable power of shared resolve that had burgeoned among them. Vince, clearly delighted, shouted, "Let's make this the moment we take back our lives." The undercurrent of unity sparked momentum, her fighters coalescing, standing shoulder to shoulder. As the enforcer reeled back, she finally saw it in his eyes. Dread, uncertainty, the sense that his grip on their lives was slipping. In that instant, Mia seized the opportunity, no longer just an observer, but a beacon of transformation. The enforcer's vision of intimidation unraveled as mania blurred the edges of his influence. Faced with the real power of the people rallying together, he faltered, not simply because of their numbers, but because they now bore a unified purpose. They surged past him, preparing to take control of what was rightfully theirs, a future built on the foundation of hope and resilience. A real transformation was underway, and as Mia pushed forward, she felt the weight of a tremendous breath of freedom fill her lungs. This was her achievement, the ultimate transformation. In that singular moment, Mia exemplified what it meant to rise above fear and seize destiny with both hands. She had not only stood up for her brother, but rewrote the narrative she had lived. A notable metamorphosis into a powerful force for change, shaping affiliations that could at long last dismantle the chains of oppression. From the shadows she had once known, she emerged victorious. "Let's do this," she shouted, that echo defining her future, one of purpose and unshakable resolve. And as their voices intertwined, echoing the palpable fervor of determination on that street, a storm of transformation ignited, redefining who they could become. Subscribe now and become a true advocate for stories of personal triumph. Leave a like to ensure more incredible narratives fill your feed. Comment your thoughts on this explosive conclusion and share this monumental moment with at least 5 friends who need inspiration. You need to stand with us. Don't wait even one more second to make your voice heard. As their voices intertwined, echoing the palpable fervor of determination on that street, a storm of transformation ignited, redefining who they could become. Subscribe now and become a true advocate for stories of personal triumph. Leave a like to ensure more incredible narratives fill your feed. Comment your thoughts on this explosive conclusion and share this monumental moment with at least 5 friends who need inspiration. You need to stand with us. Don't wait even one more second to make your voice heard.